Cowley Abbott is delighted to be offering 6 significant artworks by the celebrated Canadian artist Jack Bush in our spring live auction of select masterworks of Canadian and international art, spanning the painter's storied career. A master of color, Jack Bush said facing a large, empty, expansive canvas was the thrill of a lifetime, but added that the toughest thing in the world on that bare canvas is to put the first color on, the first mark. From our earliest sales, Cowley Abbott has been fortunate to regularly have been entrusted with rare and important artwork by Jack Bush, becoming a major player in the sale of the painter's work over the past decade and establishing the global auction record for the artist. Before his international reputation as an abstract painter took shape, Jack Bush was an award-winning painter of landscapes and the figure. In 1952, he won the J.W.L. Forster Award for Best Picture in the Ontario Society of Artists' 80th annual exhibition for this powerful painting entitled The Good Samaritan. Of all the religious paintings by Bush, which were largely produced between the late 1940s and the early 1950s, The Good Samaritan of 1951 is arguably the best and the biggest. It is also the only award-winning early work presently not in a museum collection. The parable of the Good Samaritan is a story told by Jesus in the Gospel of Luke. The moment that Bush chose to depict is a moment of relief, as felt by the one who is suffering, matched by a moment of kindness, as exercised by the Samaritan. The timing here is pivotal, both in the story and in the way in which Bush described it in paint. Dark birds begin to fly away, death is averted, and the drink is about to be accepted. Life is promised. It's a moment of mercy and action. In the spring of 1966, Jack Bush made a critical transition in his painting practice when he stopped using oil and magna paints on canvas and made the permanent switch to water-based acrylic paint. Skywash, also known as Mabel's Release No. 3, is among the first paintings produced using what Bush called acrylic polymer WB. Oil and magna paints require potent solvents to thin the paint or to clean dirty brushes. The noxious fumes became too much for the artist's wife Mabel, whose eyes became increasingly sore and irritated in the years leading up to 1966, a time in which Bush and other color-field artists were doing all they could to thin their paints. Bush was still painting at home at this time. Giving up the choking mediums of his past, his first paintings made with water-based acrylic paint were thoughtfully titled Mabel's Release, signaling his wife's relief. This series totals only 9 paintings, and the present canvas, No. 3, is the smallest of the lot. The canvas first left the artist's studio in 1969 when Bush sold the painting directly to Vincent Malzac, an American art collector and businessman who is a longtime supporter of the Washington Color School painters. Skywash Mabel's Release No. 3 was featured in 2 exhibitions celebrating Malzac's impressive art collection. The first at the Corcoran Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. in 1970 when Malzac was the museum's director, and in 1995 at the Sunrise Museum in Charleston, West Virginia. The painting was also lent by Malzac to be included in the first Jack Bush retrospective exhibition in 1976, which was organized by the Art Gallery of Ontario and toured across Canada. After Malzac, Skywash was acquired by Robert Noakes of Toronto, another art collector known for his discerning eye and impeccable taste. The painting stems from a vitally important moment in the artist's career, when Bush shifted gears in his choice of medium. It is undeniably attractive and a prize for the next collector. Yellow Bikini of 1971 was painted directly after Jack Bush executed a series of 11 gouache paintings, celebrating springtime's riot of blossoms, including apple blossoms, cherry blossoms, and forsythia. Comparing these works on paper to Yellow Bikini, it's apparent that Bush used the same yellow to evoke forsythia and the same pink for cherry blossoms. Bush was always most prolific during the spring, and Yellow Bikini is, like the season, brimming with a sense of fun and optimism. The colors in the abstract shapes pop against the gray-browns of the background, a color which Bush frequently used and likened to the dead wood of winter from which new buds break through. An absolute powerhouse of a painting titled Mayburst, recently gifted to the National Gallery of Canada from the Council for Canadian-American Relations, measuring more than 4 meters long, is a close relative of Yellow Bikini. Yellow Bikini was painted 1 year before May burst, and may have served as a model for the aesthetic approach. Just as in nature, the buds and blooms appear brighter and sharper against a neutral ground. As its title suggests, Vic Day was painted on the Victoria Day holiday. However non-objective Vic Day appears to be, this painting points to Victoria Day not just by title, but as a subject. Bush's most abstract paintings sometimes convey subject matter through shapes. Vic Day and other paintings like it from 1974 feature flatly colored shapes that may privately represent friends and family. Professor Ken Carpenter, who proudly owned Vic Day since 1975, saw the individuality of Bush's work as an asset. In his article for Art International, titled "The Inspiration of Jack Bush," published in the summer of 1977, Carpenter underlined this point with reference to an interview he had previously conducted with the artist. Bush's work always seems very personal, very much the work of Jack Bush, but that result was not something he explicitly intended. The power of Bush's late abstract paintings is that there is a levity in an implied space between the figure and the ground, but there is also nature in that space. Bush struck a balance between observation and the pure invention of abstraction, and Vic Day is a fine celebration of this feat. Cowley Abbott is pleased to be entrusted with 2 further works by Jack Bush in our spring live auction. Face Off, a rare gouache on paper executed in September of 1970, and a striking untitled 1959 oil on canvas. We extend our thanks to Dr. Sarah Stanners, author of the Jack Bush catalogue raisonné, for her assistance, research, and writing related to this incredible and varied collection of artworks by Jack Bush. We are pleased to feature these masterworks by the modern painter whose creative trajectory flowed from landscapes to abstraction, and look forward to sharing the paintings with you ahead of the May 28th auction. We hope you will visit the Cowley Abbott Gallery to stand in front of these commanding works during our previews.